What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of No Reserves Radio. I'm your host, Angelo. Here with me, as always, is Alex. And Alex,
How's it going, guys?
you had your third best week of the season, buddy.
I went back and counted it. It's tied for fifth best. So,
It's in
top five
so
week.
so. I'm guessing it's not in my top five.
No, it's definitely not. I didn't count yours, but it's like, as I was scrolling for mine, it's like, I'm 6-8, you're 12-2. You had plenty of like double digit wins. So, I'm gonna say it's not in your top five.
Yeah.
And yeah, 8-8 week for both of us, guys. I guess we can just lead with that. 8-8, right on the dot. Like the last game, Miami game, we were both on opposite sides. So
So
Buffalo got it, and I'm 8-8, and you're 8-8.
yes, and to be honest, that episode didn't do too good, but I didn't expect it to do too good. It was week 18. Quite honestly, there was a bunch of teams that were playing for nothing. I'm sure we're going to get into the some of the things that actually mattered, but they're few and far between.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Is there anything in particular you want to talk about before we get into the meat of our episode?
I guess as I talked about the record, I can just finish off saying the regular season results are in,
Okay,
and to
let's
close
go.
out the year, I went 117 to 150. That's a percentage of 44%. You, on the other hand, went 140 to 127. So that puts you at 52%, which is close to the mark that you wanted to achieve. It's like
Pretty close.
52.4. So this 8 and 8 weeks sort of like got you a number down because you were 53% prior to this week. But yeah, 52%. Props to you. You won this year. I'm hoping that maybe the playoffs are a bit more kind to me. But yeah, round
They
one,
won't
you
be.
you got it. It's
So
likely.
if if you are a fan of betting, my best advice to you is whatever Alex says, just do the opposite. You'll be fine.
Yeah, or follow Angela.
Or follow Angel.
See?
So, fun fact. In fact, I'm gonna uh point this out. Um, so when we started this, like shortly after we started this, I put like 20, 40 bucks down and I bet only on lines that both of us agree on. And I don't think you have this number, but the lines we agree on were so like egregiously off that I lost all that money within 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Like I have some notions of it. I hadn't accounted for it, like how bad or how good we are when we agree on something. But I
It was
had,
bad, dude.
yeah,
From
I
personal
had an
experience, it was
idea.
bad.
I had an idea that it wasn't great just by looking at the results weekly.
Just by looking at the week.
Yeah, it's like I'm looking at, okay, we both had this. Okay, it lost. Great. Uh, so yeah, I have an idea here. This week, let me see on the picks that we agreed upon. I can see Las Vegas. We both got the dub. I can see which one was it as well? Green Bay. We both got the dub, so we're 2-0 on those. We both
Only
agreed on Arizona, so that's 3-0
if
as
only I
well.
still had money.
This week you would have made bank, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it would've.
So yeah, 3-0. And I believe those were the only one. Oh no, 3-1. Carolina screwed us. That's it.
Carolina is so bad, dude.
Yeah, that's the same old. No, I guess 3-2 now. New England also screwed us. So yeah, you would have made some money, I guess.
Oh man, that's depressing.
Oh, I guess let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, I was about to say that too. So the season's over. A lot of head coaches were fired, a lot of staffs were overturned, but you know what? I don't care. I'm celebrating the hold on. Arthur Smith is gone. He's no more. Thank you. This justifies the. I got the Saints wrong in the division. I don't care. They did the thing I wanted them to do. They demolished Atlanta so bad. They fired Arthur Smith. Thank you, New Orleans. Thank you, thank you.
I guess
Demolished them.
congratulations are in order. He was actually the first head coach fired. Like
He
he was
deserved it.
fired prior to the second guy we're gonna talk about.
It was
But
so
yeah,
painful watching. It was
yeah,
so painful watching Atlanta games. They are. It was worse than watching Chicago. It was honestly worse than watching Chicago play this year.
I was a big, like, I'm not gonna say fan, but I was on his camp prior to the season starting. I
I wasn't.
thought, yeah, I thought he had his downs, but I thought the way that he managed to create
He
run
can coach
games,
running.
design,
He can coach running schemes, guys. He can coach running.
yeah,
The only thing he can coach is screens to Johnu Smith and inside zones to Tyler Algier. That's what he can coach. I hope both of them get cut.
to
I'm
be
mad.
frank,
I'm
like,
mad, dude.
I can see, but to be frank, they were like, they were top 10 in the league in rushing yards per game. So I at least had that part a bit right.
How'd, how'd that do for them?
Yeah, it got him fired. um,
Congratulations. You were top 10 in rushing in a passing NFL. Congratulations! Congratulations!
and that isn't even when I say this, it's like, okay, it was top 10 this year. Do you know where he was last year without heading when he didn't have Bijan Robinson?
Team.
He was the second highest team in terms of rushing yards per game. So
Oh,
he
wait a minute.
managed.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. He used a top 10 pick on a running back and went down?
That is true. That
Wow.
is indeed what happened, my good friend.
Wow.
I mean, it's an
I,
end of a chapter.
so I'm gonna say this. I know I've been harsh on him. I know he's a human being with emotions and he has a family he has to take care of too. But I don't care. Fuck Arthur Smith. He deserved it. It was miserable. It was terrible to watch. I don't want to ever see another Arthur Smith head coach game again. If I die and Arthur Smith is never a head coach again, that's good life.
You do know that he probably won't have a hard time supporting his family,
Fuck
right?
off. Yeah, he won't.
I mean, the
I
dude
thought,
is the son
I,
of the
I,
FedEx
I
guy,
thought,
so
I really thought you were about to say, he's not going to have a problem finding another head coaching job. That's why I said fuck off. I was like, no, no, no way, no, 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 no,
no,
no.
no, I don't think he will get another job. Well, at least anytime soon. Maybe he gets another one down the line. But I think you rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and like the usage, I think he just wanted to outsmart people when there was not really any need for that because he had the pieces. I guess he didn't
There
have
were,
the QB.
there were multiple support groups on Reddit for Kyle Pitts owners because of Arthur Smith. I
Yeah,
joined them, Alex. I joined them.
you
I was
joined
like, yeah, this is.
willingly.
I was like,
Did you
yeah, this
know?
is
Did you
this is a
know
rough time.
who? After he got fired, I got a notification.
I
By
did it. I'm so sad. I turned sleeper notifications off like 2 weeks ago, and I'm so sad that I did because I probably would have got it.
so I got this notification. I believe it was from Diana Rossini that said that if a certain coach becomes available, Atlanta
Bill
would
Belichick.
Atlanta would make a big run for him.
Oh, Bill Belichick. You think Bill? Hey, Alex. Do you think Bill Belichick would know how to use a top end athletic tight end? Do you think he would? Do you think he
Uh,
would?
I think so, although I'm not super sure that he would know to use Bijan, since This
That's fair.
year, he was sort of splitting those carries up between Ramondre and a very old Ezekiel Elliott. So, Kyle Pitts owners, maybe rejoice.
Rejoice
Bijan owners, I guess
and welcome
we
to
will see.
hell. Ben!
um, but yeah, that was the first firing of yesterday.
I loved it.
And after that, another head coach got fired. One that, I mean, it was rumored for quite a while, but Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron, lost his job. It's just crickets. It's like everyone was expecting it, so it's like, okay.
Uh, so, fun fact: um, if you played Madden, maybe this is more of an indictment on Madden than it is on Ron Rivera. But if you played Madden up until this last Madden, which I believe was Madden 24, Ron Rivera was both the coach of the Commanders and the Panthers.
Oh, was he?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I had no idea. Is this just like a licensing thing of the Panthers head coach or like a
I
legit
don't know.
glitch?
I don't know, but they added Matt Rule just in time for him to get fired.
Great. Okay, so it was not a licensing deal issue. It's just like they got it
They were
wrong.
like, they were like, like,
Because I,
quite honestly, Ron Rivera is kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. This should be Bill Belichick, but it's not. But Ron Rivera feels like a coach of a bygone era.
yeah, it is. Do you, if you had to have a wild guess, because Ron Rivera is someone that is well respected, and part of it is because of his personal struggles with cancer that he had that are well documented.
Yes, no, 100%.
Would you say, like, how many winning seasons do you say that he probably has?
Give me a sample size as far as years go.
Like, on his career as a coach?
Yeah, how many years has he coached?
Um, okay, I believe he coached 13 seasons.
13 seasons. Give me a solid five.
He has three winning records.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So, and one of those was a Super Bowl run.
And one of those was the Super Bowl run in which he had, I believe it was, he went 15 and 1, right?
I, I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
went close to being undefeated on the regular season and lost versus, funny enough, the Falcons, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah, they didn't have Arthur Smith coaching them, or else they would have gone undefeated.
Yeah, they lost versus the Falcons on week 16. It's funny how like memory remembers this sometime. I was really into it. It was one of the first years that I started following it. But yeah, Rivera got fired. I think honestly that this is one of the better jobs in the NFL right now.
The Commanders?
Yeah.
What do you make of Sam Howell? Because he had the good start, then a slump, then he got taken out, then he got put back in, then he got taken out again, then he got put back in again. Like, what do you make of Sam Howell? Do you think that a new head coach will keep him? Do you think he showed enough flashes to be worthy, or do you think that Sam Howell is just going to be a victim of this isn't my guy, I want my guy?
Yeah, I think that last one is correct. And especially because they got the second, is it the second overall pick?
Pretty sure. Yeah.
I, I believe they
They
have
did
the second
they did
overall
pretty
pick.
good at losing. They did pretty good at
Yeah.
losing this year, buddy.
Yeah, I believe that's I'll just check because I knew they were close with New England, but I can just check it out, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's one thing if like Washington wasn't picking second. Yeah, Washington is picking second. It's one thing if they weren't, and it's like, okay, maybe the decision is between Panics, who I watched yesterday in the championship game, and I mean, there's a reason why I don't watch college football. It's like some of those games are goddamn
They're
man.
bad. They're just
They're
bad.
bad.
Like like
Bad
I
football.
I I don't get the people who are like, oh, college football is a more pure version of football. What are you watching?
Yeah, it's really bad. Like I get that there's some games who are like good, that are competitive. It's like I remember watching, for example, the Trevor Lawrence Joe Burrow game, national championship.
Oh yeah, Clemson versus LSU.
Yeah, that
Very
one was good. That one I think was good.
hon-
Like
honestly,
defense wasn't.
if you just watched a 2019 LSU game, you were happy. But
Yeah, but I watched Georgia last year and I watched Michigan this year in the championship, and it's like it seems like they are teams playing versus child, like team of real players playing versus teams who have like either child playing there, children playing there, or just guys who will be working at a I don't know a dealership in like 2 years. It's tough. It's like that's why I don't watch most of it. But as I was saying, it's a big difference between being like, okay, you can pick Drake May and have him as your franchise QB for the future, or you can, I don't know,
roll the
if
dice
they
on
had
Sam
pick,
Howell.
yeah, if they had like pick 10, pick 9, then it's like Penix, Daniels, those
So
guys, and it's like, okay, then I would have gone with Howell. But as it
I'll
stands, I think
I'll I'll
that
give
ship has sailed.
you I'll give you your case for selecting someone other than Drake May. So Washington is kind of like embrace the tank at this point. They traded both of their pass rushers. Their offensive line, when I watched it, was absolutely atrocious. I don't know where it ranked, but if it's above 20, I'll be shocked. Their wide receiving core is kind of shaky. Tight ends very shaky. They just gutted their front seven, and their secondary wasn't exactly great to begin with. I think you got to start building the team, quite honestly, and just
Ah,
sacrifice Sam Howell. So make Sam Howell the sacrificial lamb.
I think that's a tough sell because the appeal of this job right now, it's one, new ownership, two, because new ownership, they can spend more money on the team. They seem to be at least a capable bunch from what they have displayed so far. You have the second overall pick, so you can pick basically anyone you want outside of probably Caleb Williams. And the cap situation isn't like too bad. They have what? They have roughly 13 million right now, plus they have plenty of of cap space that they can open up. Oh no, this is actually for 2023. For 2024 that I should be checking. I think yeah, that number will be yeah, they have over 80 million in cap space right now. So it's like you have a ton of money. You have guys that are good players. You have Terry McLaurin, you have Darren Payne, you have Jonathan Allen, you have Jahan Dotson. You still have, I believe, Curtis Samuel, although he is a free agent next year. You can resign him, I guess. You have players there that are good. Plus, you
Yeah.
have the second overall pick. So it's like, okay, the team isn't good, but you have plenty of money to spare, and you have draft picks to spare as well. So I don't think that they should be punting right now at QB. I think that they should acquire the QB, spend the money wisely. I mean, they have had some interesting signings to look up for the head coach. Did you see who they signed?
No, who did they sign?
Uh, the Washington, the Golden State Warriors former GM, Bob Myers.
Really?
Yeah, they got him in the building to help run the franchise and help like identify who the next head coach should be. And they
Okay.
also got ex-Vikings general manager Rick Spielman.
Hmm.
So I think they're a smart bunch, the new ownership. I think they will make the right moves, and I think this team will be in a position to get probably a top three head coach that is available right now. And I'm saying it right now, I think that head coach is gonna be. Do you know who's gonna be?
No, who's it going to be?
Jim Harbaugh.
No.
I think that's the job that Jim Harbaugh goes to.
Washington?
Washington.
I don't know. It's a hard sell for me.
I think so. And it was the first name that came out as soon as Bob Myers got announced to like join the team. It
Mm-hmm.
was that like his first contact would be with Jim Harbaugh.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, I think it's probably there's people that are gonna say that the Chargers job is better because of Herbert. I think that job is far from good. Like that team is an absolute cap hell. I wouldn't touch that team. Like it's good to work with Herbert, but when you look at their cap situation, it's it's rough, man. And it's not even a team that has like a ton of good players, ton of good young players, and has no cap. It's like the cap is tied up to very old players or players who are regressing right now. I mean, you have you have over 100 million dollars in cap hit just between three players, and it's like Lil Mac, Joey Bosa, Keenan Allen. Plus, you add Mike Williams, and you're over 140 million in cap.
You're talking about the Chargers?
Yeah, I'm saying like people usually say that like the Chargers are a better job because they have Herbert. I'm not so sure they're a better job
Oh,
than a Washington Commanders, for
oh
example.
yeah, I forgot Staley got fired in the middle of the season. I was like, Staley did.
Yeah, no,
I
Staley is not there.
yeah. I forgot that he got fired before the season and he couldn't quite make it.
Yeah,
Boy.
but
So
yeah, that's it. And the last coach fired happened today.
do you
Give
think before we talk about that, I do want to talk about at least the Giants firing everyone but not Brian Daboll. What do you make of that?
I think he had enough like credit from the playoff victory, I guess, that they got last year. They did win the game versus the Vikings, if I'm not mistaken. So he has enough of a leash to the point that like the season that went very bad, but it's like there's things outside of his control. It's like the defense played really bad in stretches. They lost Danny Dimes. The O line got hurt a ton. Saquon missed as well, like a game or half a game, things like that. Like the season wasn't perfect. The season was actually pretty bad, but I believe that he had enough credit to his name due to the run that they had the year prior, to the point in which he didn't get fired. Also, I think that the defensive coordinator, from what I read, he ended in his resignation. He didn't get fired because the report that came in earlier yesterday was that they wouldn't fire him. They just fired the special teams coach. So Don Wickendale was supposedly still gonna be the defensive coordinator, but he asked for his resignation. He ended his resignation. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me that they kept the OC as well. But outside of that, I'm not shocked that Dable didn't get fired.
You're not shocked that Dable didn't get fired.
Yeah.
I see.
Are you?
That Dable didn't get fired. I'm kind of shocked that Dable didn't get fired, but everyone else did get fired, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like, what are they exactly expecting out of
I mean, the Jags did something similar though.
they did.
Yeah, they
But we're
fired
going to be
like
I know they did, but we're going to talk about that later. But do you think that what are they going to do? They're going to bring in another quarterback? You think that's what's going to happen?
I believe the reports that came out yesterday or like on Sunday were that they are planning towards having Danny Dimes be the QB. for 2024, like, and be ready to start the season. Now, they have a top 10 pick right now.
They do have a top 10
I'm
pick
not,
right now.
yeah, they have the sixth pick overall.
Yeah, no, I know.
I am not sold on Danny Dimes at any stretch of imagination. I thought that they were between like two very bad outcomes, that it was either you give the big contract to the running back or you give the big contract to a QB that has been subpar so far, but did have an okay to good season. Um, I think they made the wrong decision, probably giving him the contract, as a contract to Saquon would probably be easier to get out of. But that said, though, I wouldn't be shocked if they draft a QB. I think it's probably wise because after this year, they can actually get out from under the deal pretty easily. So I
Hmm.
think you have to go with the route of, okay, we're drafting this guy for development, just use the development, and like mid season, end of season, you just say, okay, goodbye, Danny Dimes. Was good while it lasted, but that's it. And you move off of Daniel Jones. You go with the QB. I think you go with the Bama guy, Daniels.
So I think that the Dayball is going to need a running quarterback.
Daniels.
Yeah, that could be it. Because I'm kind of thinking of because the scheme that they're going to want to run is similar to what they did with Josh Allen. I'm just curious if that works with anyone that isn't Josh Allen or like
Yeah,
a Lamar. So I mean,
I
I
think
guess
it.
we'll see.
I think it probably works with Daniels too. I think Daniels is a good enough QB to the point in which he can work with Dayball.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so let's go to the last one. Tennessee Titans.
And I actually been saying, I was saying Daniels for the longest time, and I wanted to say Milrow, but it is what it is now. It's in
Yeah,
there, guys. Every time I say Daniels, it's Jalen Milrow. I'm changing up the names in my head.
yeah. I was like Daniels.
Yeah,
It's
Jalen
all good.
Milrow. My bad. My bad.
It's all good. It's all good. Everything's
Yeah.
all good. So Vrabel got fired from the Titans. Do you think it's warranted, and how do you foresee the Titans moving forward? Because I think a few things, but I want to get your opinion first.
It feels unfair
Mhm.
because he's the coach that, like, I mean, he has had nothing to work with, basically. If you're
Yeah,
looking at, for example, the QBs that he had and like his record, I mean, he went 54 and 45. He is, I believe, since he started as a head coach, he has the 12th best record in the NFL, and he has three playoff trips in 6 years. And it's with QBs like Marcus Mariota, with Blaine Gabbert, with Malik Willis, Ryan Tannehill, Josh Dobbs, Will Levis. It's like it feels like he overachieved for quite a while, and he got those teams to
Mhm.
the playoffs when they didn't deserve it. And the
Yep.
first season in which he doesn't overachieve, he gets canned. Mm, it feels like a GM that wants to get his guy because the GM is new. He got the job last year. And plus, like, outside of all of that, like, he has had to struggle with guys, for example, trading AJ Brown and giving him for like a full season, the
And then
corpse of
replaced him
Traylon
with
Burks.
Treylon Burks. No, they replaced him with Treylon Burks.
Yeah, but like
Let's be real.
Burks played like what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of like meaningful football in which he wasn't hurt because he missed plenty of games in his rookie season, and then he got hurt as well. So it's like maybe full 100% healthy games. He played what, 3, 4 games. So
So,
it feels unfair.
so I think this kind of puts an exclamation point on the Derrick Henry like speech after the Titans' last game, where Derrick Henry sounds like a guy who's not coming back to Tennessee, my dude. I hate to break it to you, but I know you've been saying for the longest time that it wouldn't surprise you if Derrick Henry, he's not coming back, dude.
Yeah, I
If the
agree with
speech
that
doesn't
part.
confirm it, this confirms it.
Yeah,
And quite
I agree.
honestly, good.
No, no, I agree. I agree. I'm just saying that.
And quite honestly, I think that I agree with the feeling that this feels like an unfair firing. Quite honestly, Vrabel, I don't have the list in front of me, but to me, Vrabel feels like the best out of the Bill Belichick coaching tree to come out.
Oh, it is for
And
sure.
yeah, I didn't know if there's like a successful one that I wasn't thinking of. Regardless, um, Tennessee has way overachieved what anyone expected to them. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't fun like I would want it, but he did encapsulize the team. Like we see sometimes coaches get fired because they lost the locker room or the guys weren't playing tough. That's not the case with Variable. You can't tell me that team quit on Variable. No way.
I
No
mean,
way.
they won the last game, so
Yeah.
I think
So
it's hard to say that.
no.
But yeah, I
I
agree.
think quite honestly, this might come up later in the Chicago future Chicago Bears topic, but I think one of the surefire signs of a bad organization is instability at the head coaching position. And while it's hard to say that they were unstable at the head coaching position for a guy who was there for 6 years, this kind of firing kind of like set it's like a move that an unstable organization would make to me.
Hmm. You
Wrong
mentioned
guy, wrong time.
Chicago. You mentioned
Wrong guy, wrong
Chicago
time.
here. And one thing that I sort of, okay, I'm not going to say I understand, but one way I can justify this, it's like now you get a full clean slate. The Titans have the pick 7 right now, and you have a full clean slate. The GM joined last year, if I'm not mistaken. You now will have a new head coach, and the new head coach will probably pick the future QB of this franchise at 7.
Is it wheels up for Tajay Spears?
Probably,
Depends
yeah.
if the I think the only thing that could change that if they draft a running back with an early pick, like a top 3 round pick.
Yeah, and I sort of doubted like this class is really bad for running back.
Yeah.
But
So wheels up
regardless,
Tajay Spears.
but it's like it's a full alignment. You get like all 3 guys on board, and it's like they all get a clean slate, and they all live and die by this pick, basically. And it's as something in like Chicago, for example, that you mentioned. It's not something that you're seeing because okay, Poles joined, Fields was already the QB. Eberflus joined, Fields was already the QB. Now, say like Eberflus gets fired, I doubt it right now, and they trade Fields. Now you have a GM that is probably on a short leash because although he has made some great moves, the team isn't winning right now. So now you have a GM on a short leash. He picks the QB, he picks the head coach. Now if Poles gets fired, then you have a GM who isn't aligned with the signings that he made. So it's like I always like to have teams that have like consistent alignments in every single place, like the top 3 most important, GM, head coach, QB. I want them all to be aligned at the same time and be sort of like all come in at the same time, like maybe a year of difference or something, but like all be aligned. So I get it in this sense by Tennessee. It's a full clean slate. They have the GM, the new GM, they have the head coach, and they will have the new QB. All of that is new. All of that is aligned. All of that will live and die by who they pick at 7, in my opinion, or if they move up for a QB. So I understand in that sense. I still think it's an unfair firing.
I think it was a flat out wrong firing. I think there's a better chance that we see like I guess more fun Tennessee Titans, a more pass heavy Tennessee Titans, but I think there's more of a chance that we see a much less successful Tennessee Titans in the future.
And Vrabel, it's like the first 2 head coaches that we've talked about
Mm,
that were fired. None of them will get that coaching job considerations. For
right.
Vrabel, do you think he is a
I would.
top what available head coach? Because I'm looking at the head coaches available, and he's of the ones that are currently available, he's probably first. And then it's like of the guys that can get consideration, it's like Ben
Uh,
Johnson,
how
it's
about say
Harbaugh.
there's coordinators in there too that you should consider, but I mean, as far as like former head coaches, I think he's one of the top ones. Yeah.
Yeah, but in terms of candidates in general, I still think it's probably top five, if not top three.
Yeah, I generally agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he has the experience where a lot of these coordinators won't have it. He has the experience of head coaching a team for what 3 4 years, going to the playoff. No, 6 years, going to the
6 years.
playoffs in three of them. I mean, he has the experience, so I think that trumps a whole lot of the new hype and the new hotness. And we've talked about Chicago, and I think he would be a nice fit in Chicago.
Yeah, for sure.
Like just a sort of like in terms of like philosophy, I think he would be the guy that Chicago rallies behind.
Think about Chicago as an option. Honestly, I was getting like flashbacks to Atlanta, but Chicago actually would be a really good one. But reports are that Chicago likes Eberflus.
Yeah,
So so I doubt that happens. But regardless, I think that is a good sign that Chicago is saying we like Eberflus. We're going to give him the reins. We're going to let him do what he. So I like that for Chicago overall.
yeah. I think they would be pretty well off with him.
So speaking of Derrick Henry speeches and the Tennessee Titans winning Week 18, they crushed the Jaguars' chances of the playoffs. So you before we go into Trevor Lawrence, let's go ahead. You can take your victory lap. Call him fraudulent. Go ahead.
I mean, I've been saying it for quite a while, man. You just didn't want to believe it. This was a team that I was never sold on. This was a team that always looked like they were getting wins that they didn't really deserve, and they weren't really sure how they were getting these wins. And in the end of the day, I mean, they needed to win what, one game of their last six? No, two games are their last six to make it in. Because if I'm not mistaken, they were 9-3 with 6 games left. No, 9-3 with 5 games left, I believe, and they lose 4 of the next 5. And their one win was versus Carolina. And you know who was the QB in that win?
It was CJ Beathard.
Yes, the only game that Trevor Lawrence missed as a starting QB. It was the only game that they won.
Uh, yeah.
And it was actually a stark difference. And I saw a lot of people commenting this. But I believe like last season they needed to win like basically all of their games but one to end the season, and they won them all but one. And this year they needed to win like one. They needed to win like two, and they lost all but one. So it's like the same exact weeks in which they won last year, starting from like week 12, for example, I believe. The same games that they won last year, they lose this year. And the games that they lost last year, they won this year. Just like coincidences, man. It's like, oh boy. And that
Yeah, the
leads to
Jag.
the question of, oh, what were you gonna say?
I said, yeah, it was a pretty rough time if you had the Jaguars in your top 10 for 12 weeks.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry. I tried to warn you. You didn't really pay any attention to it, but I tried to warn you. This team was not what it was thought out to be. But that leads to the question of, is Trevor Lawrence a franchise QB?
Yes.
Okay, don't even have any sort of second thoughts about it.
No,
Okay.
no, I don't.
Because, I mean, I I also think he probably is a franchise QB. Uh, but I mean, he got the full on pass year one because of Urban Meyer. Then year two, he makes the playoffs. He gets the playoff win. I guess it's versus the Chargers, but those technically count.
He came back from like a 40-point deficit.
Yeah, man, but it's the Chargers. It's like it
Yeah,
was
but
in the script.
it wasn't the script, this guy.
I mean, that would be impressive versus like I don't know, a team that usually doesn't choke every single game and find to lose these games in sort of miraculous fashion. Now versus the Chargers is just par for the course. But yeah, they won the playoff game, and now this year it's a very down year. I guess I struggle to put a lot of blame on Trevor Lawrence, but at the same time, I sort of have to because he did get every single injury in the book. But instead of doing the correct thing and just sitting out, he tried to play through it. And at that point, it's like I sort of have to judge you for what you give me in the field and what he gave me in the field and what he gave to the Jacksonville fans wasn't necessarily good. At times, it was even really bad. And I understand this hurts, but if you're hurting the team and you're being like that dude who doesn't know when to sit, I sort of have to judge you by what you give me. And what he gave us this year was really poor. Now I'm hoping that maybe this was just a year off, but now they are starting to fire plenty of guys. They fired running back coaches, they fired O line coaches, they fired guys in the
Dude,
defensive room as well.
listen, I'm gonna make a bold statement here, and it's gonna be more based on numbers, but I'm gonna say Trevor Lawrence improved from last year, considering he was hurt. So,
Did
do you
he?
know how, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, did he? Really?
If you consider he was hurt, yes. So his
Oh,
completion
okay. Okay.
if if his completion percentage was 1% lower than last year,
Okay.
his yards was less than 100 off of last year, and he missed a game compared to last year. His touchdowns was about the same rate, 4.3 to 3.7. His interceptions were way up. That's the bad part. His
That's
success
the
rate was
killer.
about the same. His yards per attempt were actually better this year. His yards per catch were better this year. His yards per game was better this year.
But is it just hit yards or
His
lower?
Q his QBR was better this year.
But his QB rate
So
wasn't.
so like call me crazy. I understand most of these numbers are close. But I think when you look at it of the lens of Trevor Lawrence was banged up most of the season, Trevor Lawrence did take a small step. And I think given a full healthy season, Trevor Lawrence could be in those top quarterback conversations.
I struggle with that
Agree?
because
I don't. I don't.
I was never in the Trevor Lawrence is gonna be that great QB that he was once touted to be. As I said prior to the season starting, and this was mostly for fantasy football, I guess, but I was not completely sold that he should be in the like top 10 tier. And I know we also talked about like in real life football.
You don't think he should be top 10? No.
No, he should not be top 10, especially not after this season. I mean, the dude threw 21 touchdowns to 14 picks. His interception percentage went up a whole point this year. Like, he was a turnover machine this year, and I get it. You were trying to compensate for being hurt, but just like don't play, dude. Like, he hurt the team more than he helped them. And I understand the competitive spirit. I understand all of that. But at some point, you have to
I mean,
either you blame him or you blame the coach for not wanting to sit him.
listen, I have said that Joe Burrow should not have played the games that he played this whole season, and he eventually got hurt weren't to the point that he had to be out the whole season. Sometimes, sometimes the quarterbacks are just going to do that, buddy. Like, and yeah, the stuff he put on the field wasn't the best at times. But when you consider that he was out there, definitely not 100%, banged up the whole, his sack percentage was up too, by the way, which means he was getting
Yeah,
hit more.
but he was pressured
I,
around the same as well.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Trevor. I think Trevor Lawrence is fine. I would buy Trevor Lawrence at the discount that you're talking about. I'd buy Trevor Lawrence.
Mm. I know we're not like fully talking fantasy football here, but now
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
mention it, just a quick one. Would you rather?
Trevor Lawrence
Real
or
quick.
yeah, let's
Trevor
go.
Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence, or the guy who was second in the league in touchdown passes, Jordan Love.
Trevor Lawrence.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Okay. No, like this one isn't even like. I think Jordan Love right now is where people wanted to put Trevor Lawrence last year, right around that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jordan Love should be the guy like that gets the Trevor Lawrence hype from last year. They even had the same record, 9-8. But yeah,
I-
I'm not totally sure that I'm sure that Trevor Lawrence is a franchise QB. I'm not so sure he should be top 10. I'm not so sure he should be top 12. I think it's likely that he is top 16, but I also wouldn't be shocked if he gets somewhere a bit more down in that list.
oh, I have faith in the dude.
All right then. We seem to disagree on that one. We
Yeah, we
shall see
do.
what happens, but what we know is that the
Trevor
Jags are
Lawrence.
not winning a playoff game this year.
That is unfortunately true.
Eh,
I would have selected him too. I don't
yeah,
care if
I
it's
know.
against Cleveland. I'd have selected him.
I know, but you can't now. I'm sorry.
I cannot. Unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. All right. So let's move on to the Bears. So, what is the overarching? We had a disagreement earlier about because I said I'll just say it again. I said that if the Bears select Caleb Williams with the first overall pick, I'm off the bandwagon. I'm pressing that abort button. Caleb Williams, party over, family. Let's go. What, go ahead. What do you want to say about that? You wanted to say something.
I think I don't know, man. I think people overthink this way too much. I've been having
No.
discussions with Bear fans, and like,
You found them? What cave did you
yeah,
go to?
I found them in a cave called Reddit subreddit Chicago Bears or She Bears, I guess. And
So
it's like,
is there like two people roaming that Reddit right now? You talk to like two people?
no, there's actually a resilient bunch that just hang in there and just go through all these trials and tribulations. And
Why?
yeah, it's weird, right? It's like it's one of those things when you're a fan of a team, you sort of have to remind yourself that you're a fan willingly. It's like you can cut that off anytime. And sometimes it's hard, but you have that choice. It's okay. You can ask for help and get out. But Chicago Bears fans don't seem to think that. And the weirdest thing to me is like how much they are just okay with mediocrity.
Just
And
okay.
it's they're just okay with it. And it's like
Just okay.
one of the main comments that I hear, it's like, oh, why are we moving off Justin Fields? Whichever QB we bring in will just ruin it. And I'm
Okay.
just
Go on.
what?
So wait a minute. So wait a minute. You're telling me. You're telling me I made a statement. I made a statement. Caleb William party over fam. You went to Chicago Bear fans, and the Chicago Bear fans came back to you and were like, "Yeah, he's probably right."
Not 100%. I saw the comments before um, saying that, and then you said that comment. So it's like, okay, some guys agree with you, and it's weird to me how many guys are just okay with Fields being around. It's like, and it's also fun that I'm in a few Discord channels with guys that
Do you
understand football, and
do
it's
you think?
like,
Hold on, before you say this, do you think that it's more of a Fields is the quarterback we deserve kind of mindset?
no, I think it's just because he's likable. And it's probably one of their most likable QBs ever because what is their best QB in their history? It's probably
Jay Cutler.
Cutler, yeah. And it's like Cutler, while sometimes a good QB, didn't seem to be the most likable guy around. Like he was funny at
Remember when he gave
times.
up on that playoff game? Oh, when he got hurt and he was just on the sidelines on the bicycle.
Yeah, that one that one is the play that is always reminded about with with Cutler when he gave up on the team right there and then. But it's like it feels probably their most likable QB. Yeah, I guess. So they are just okay because he's likable. And they have excuses for him. You never run out of excuses for a guy when you really want to. So it's like, oh no, it's the coordinator fault. Oh no, they don't give him a chance to succeed. Oh no, it's like, but he can run. Yeah.
You can
If I
run.
wanted the guy to run, you would have a running back, right?
You can run.
Maybe. And I saw comments saying, if Fields didn't have legs, people would have been sold on him. And it's like, yeah, I guess you can say that about every single QB, but I get the point.
So I want to explain. Before I explain, you said you talked to some experts who know football. You sounded like you're going to make a more grandiose point about their
No, no,
quarterback.
they're far from experts, but there are people who understand football, and it's like there's plenty of fan bases in there, and it's like the one that I see people being drawn to the most, that like draw towards Fields the most, are Atlanta fans, and that's something that you see pretty much everywhere. It's like the
Atlanta
trade that
fans
it,
don't know what a good quarterback looked like since Matt Ryan. So
I mean, but that's not long, and it's funny that like Chicago doesn't give up on him because he's a good guy, and then when you talk with Atlanta fans, it's like, okay, so why do you want him? Because he's from Atlanta. So no one really wants him because he plays football. They just want him because he's either nice or he's from the area. So it seems like it's just a charity case at this point with Fields. But yeah, really weird situation with this guy. And you think they will ruin whoever they draft, right?
So I want to explain that a little bit. So the way that you made it sound when we were having this conversation, that I think that that Chicago would ruin Caleb Williams, and that you think quarterbacks are more either they're going to work out or they're not going to work out, and the Bears just got one who wasn't going to work out. I completely disagree with that sentiment. To me, I believe that I'd say about 90% of quarterbacks are they can work out in the right situation. And the other 10% is, oh, these like Jamarcus Russell. He wasn't going to work out no matter what. Okay? Like but
Okay.
I don't know if Caleb Williams is oh, he's going to work out wherever. And it's not that I think Chicago's cursed. It's that I think Chicago is shitly run.
But where does that running begin?
What do you mean? From the
So
top.
from the top, like the ownership.
Yes.
So how does the ownership impact the development of a QB?
By giving him three head coaches in 3 years.
That can be the GM technically.
I guess. Either way, it's at the top.
Okay. But the GM has been the same for a while, and Fields has had this head coach for 2 seasons now.
Has he improved in each season? Actually, let me pull that up.
Go ahead.
What? You're laughing.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. I want to see your reaction, man.
Okay, so let's go by year. Ah, the numbers look about the same. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I will say his passing yards a game has upped by 50, but everything else looks about the same. I'm not gonna lie. His quarterback rate went up, but his QBR went down. He's taking less sacks.
But he also played
So
less games. He played 2 less games.
two less games. That is true. What's his
It's
sack
like,
percentage? His sack percentage is down though.
yeah, his sack
Pretty
percentage is down.
pretty pretty demonstrably. He is now a 60% completion percentage quarterback. He's 61.
Yeah. But it's like his improvement from year 1 to year 3 is what, 2 points?
Yeah.
It's, I mean,
So I guess the question then becomes: is Justin Fields a bust, or is this just who he is? What's his
I
rushing
think
numbers?
for where he was
And
drafted,
is what he is a bust? I guess is the. Go ahead, sorry.
I think it's hard to call people bust, but I think it is what it is at this point. It's like it's not the
His rush
biggest bust ever.
his rushing yards are actually considerably down, and that combined with 50 more passing yards a game means he has been throwing the ball a lot. Would at least lead me to believe he's been throwing the ball a lot more as opposed to just running it every time.
Yes, he has more
Because it's
attempts this year,
yeah,
but it's like his attempts has led to like 300 yards passing more, and I guess like per game that's a bit more since he played last games.
yeah.
But it's like it feels like it is what it is right now. He's just the guy who. And what? How many games has he played as a Bear in total? He started at 38 games, right?
40. Started 38, played 40. Yes.
Okay. So in those starts, he has one 300 yard passing game. He has
Yeah.
13 200-yard passing games. And it's like you are looking at QBs that are entering like worse conditions than he is. And it's like they go out there and they throw for 200 yards with ease. So then you're left wondering why are teams just settling down for this type of production at the QB when it clearly shows that it's not good enough. And to be frank, like I
Quite,
watched most of the
quite,
Green Bay game, and I don't
quite
think
on,
the loss was on him.
quite honestly, I think that's a little bit unfair because especially when you compare him to rushing quarterbacks, how many 300-yard passing games do you think Lamar Jackson had this year?
This year alone,
Yep,
I would guess probably two,
3.
three.
How many?
Okay.
How many do you think Jalen Hurts had?
Uh, two,
I'm actually going to it now. 1, 2, 3. 3 as well.
three.
Oh wait,
Okay.
no, there's the 4 one. 4.
So they have 3 times the amount this year as Justin has in his career.
Yes,
Okay.
but
Just
they could.
wanted to
They
put that
could.
out there.
But they are also they also have better, especially Lamar this season. They also have better weapons, a better offensive line, especially in the well, actually both of them have a better offensive line. I was going to say especially in the case of Philly, but both of them have a better offensive line, better weapons, and a more stable organization. Would you not also agree with that statement?
Yes, I would.
So I'm
That's
sorry,
sad.
but
All of that's sad.
I don't see the case where Justin Fields is marginally worse than Jalen Hurts from a pure potential standpoint. Like if you put Justin Fields in Philly and gave him the same amount of time under that same ownership, I don't think that it would be crazy to say he could be doing what Jalen Hurts is doing.
But when does potential run out?
That's the question.
Because we're 3 years in. Next year, it's his fourth year on this rookie deal. That's the last year outside of the team option. So team
Yeah, that's
option will pay him like double digit, if I'm not mistaken,
they're
double
not giving him
double
that team
digit.
option. Let's be real. They're not giving him
And
that.
if you don't give him that team option, what contract are you giving him?
I don't know, 20 million a year? Who knows?
Are you paying 20 million a year for a guy with these numbers who has barely improved from his first season? Yeah, that tells me that's a no.
Yeah, yeah.
And if he plays like even slightly better, because there's hype around him, there's the fans around him, that's all of that. He has flashy plays. That's also like Mac Jones doesn't get like this sort of treatment because he doesn't get the flashy plays. But like Justin Fields will get out of what, 3, 4 sacks, like for sure sacks, and pick you up like 20, 25 yards, and that will get the fans going, that will get the coaches going, that will jump off the tape. So say he, for some weird reason, he has like a Danny Dimes type season from 2022 and he has that next year, and like some random GM decides to give him what, the same type of money that Jones got, which was in the 40 million range. If you're paying Justin Fields 40 million a year, I mean, your franchise isn't even like winning a handful of games. Maybe it wins 4 games at the absolute top. And then you have the dilemma here that it's like, okay, you can like the guy how you want. He's likable. He's fun. He's probably even a locker room leader at some point. But his play just doesn't reflect that type of investment that he should get. So I struggle with the idea that like you should settle with this and that every single QB that you get will be worse or will get ruined. Like you're just settling for mediocrity and you should just stop pushing
Well,
the
you should.
stone down the hill and actually get the QB that is touted to be a pretty good QB. That it's like it's probably the better QB that you might ever in your like entire franchise. Just draft a guy and stop playing this mouse and cat game.
It's not a mouse and cat game. Make the team better, you fucks.
I mean, but how much more can they even make the team better? They're like
Oh, stop it.
they have a top
Oh, stop
16
it.
offensive line according to PFF. They have a Pro Bowl wide receiver in DJ Moore. They have what? Probably a Pro Bowl tight end in Cole Kmet. If he hasn't made one yet, I mean, he's in the upper echelon of tight ends. They have, for all intents and purposes, since Eberflus took over play calling in the defense, they have a top 10 defense. I mean, what more do you even need? You just need a QB that can read the field, man. You need a QB that doesn't get flustered the first time that he sees a guy coming in his direction. You need a QB that can make quick throws, and you also need an offensive coordinator that can actually make those things happen. Because Gatsby clearly isn't it. As I was saying with the Packers game, that was not his fault in like completely. There were like the play designs were all over the place, man. I saw plays in which Fields didn't even have like sort of a dump off option there. He had like 2 guys running routes and they were all like 15 yards plus deep in the field. And I'm like, what are you even doing? Are you even trying to help this guy out? And clearly you're not. But I don't think that changing the offensive coordinator and just that and change nothing else with the team plus trading out of the first again is the solution for this team because this team is deeply flawed in many things, and one of them is the QB. Plus, another thing that doesn't get talked about enough, even if Eberflus gets to keep his job this year, and Ryan
Well,
Poles definitely will keep this job this year. Are you telling me that those 2 guys, with probably the last year that they have in that organization, are going to say, okay, this guy has barely improved from year 1 to year 3. We haven't even gotten our guy inside the building yet. Like a guy that we pick, a guy that we want. This is the guy from the other ownership, from the other like front office and coaching. This is not our guy. Are we gonna risk the last season that we have in this team probably in this guy, or are we gonna draft our guy and at least have that? It reminds me of Draft Day, like the movie, and it's like the dude wanted to build his team. It didn't matter what happened. He just didn't want his father's team. Like it's his last season in the team. If he is going to go out, at least go out in your shield and with your guys, and not with the guy that someone else drafted that you were stuck and getting the bag on. It's like trade the dude, get a QB, and if you lose, you lose. But at least you had your guy, and you at least gave the franchise a guy that they can cheer on. Although they seem to be pretty okay with cheering for mediocrity.
I
Maybe
give you
this is
that.
the
That's a fair
last.
point. That's
Yeah,
fair.
I'm hoping this was the last Fields rant until February at least.
What if he's the Patriots quarterbacks week 1 next year and he replaces Mac Jones?
I guess that will help the show out. There's more content to talk about. As I told you in private, I wanted to get an actual like starting gig something somewhere because that helps out the show, I guess. There's more to talk about.
Yep. Oh man. Okay. So next up, the Saints' last play. Go ahead, explain it.
Okay, so for the last play, I mean, the Saints are up for quite a bit. I mean, they are up 41 to 17, and it's roughly 2 minutes left in the clock. They go out there. It's first and goal. The game is won. Falcons can't really stop the clock. They don't have timeouts. So they are just out there kneeling it. And apparently, right on the goal line, Jameis Winston decided, okay, we're calling an audible, and we're getting Jamal Williams the touchdown. And they did, and he got the touchdown. Apparently, it was a team call, according to Jameis. And that
I mean,
left
it
a
had
few
to have been
fans.
the offensive line blocked.
Yeah, it was. And he said it was a team call. They wanted to get Jamal Williams the touchdown because I believe he didn't get one this year. He was hurt for quite a bit, and he also wasn't that used this year since they had Alvin Kamara and Kendra Miller. So yeah, that was the first rushing touchdown of the season. So they gave him the touchdown, and game ends a bit after. And Arthur Smith is absolutely fuming. He goes down the middle of the field, throws a few
Good.
expletives at Dennis Allen, and
Throw
just
your temper tantrum. The
yeah,
last temper tantrum you're gonna throw all
last
for
one that
your
he will
fucking
have.
Atlanta career. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Dennis Allen, like I see a few fans being like, okay, he was out of line. He shouldn't do that to Dennis Allen. And like Arthur Smith isn't the most like that coach amongst most
Fuck Arthur
circles.
Smith.
Yeah. Fantasy football is not the most well liked. Atlanta fans don't really like him. And just the general fan is usually against guys who are getting jobs because they're like Nepo babies or whatever. So he's not the most well liked guy. So teams side with the Saints. But then Dennis Allen comes out and he says that he wanted to apologize to Arthur Smith. He says that that's not what the Saints are about and that it's inexcusable to run that type of play there, that they should have just kneeled the ball, but the team went over his head, which opens up a whole different can of worms in regards of like your authority inside of the team. But that's story for another season, I guess. And Jameis is like pretty okay with it. Like the media is interviewing him about what happened in that play. He says that it was a team call, and it's like, I
Yeah.
mean, they weren't they embarrassed by allowing like 41 points? What's another seven gonna make? Which is a pretty hilarious response. But
Good.
I wanna get your take on it. Do you think it's BS to do that? Do you think it's fair? And try to take
Oh,
out the Arthur Smith like hate
fuck Arthur
towards
Smith.
from your heart.
So, quite honestly, okay, I'm gonna go to baseball because this is a thing in baseball. Did you see the Fernando Tatis Grand Slam?
No, I did not. I barely
Okay,
follow baseball.
so you don't know about that. Okay, so one of the unwritten rules in baseball is that you take the first pitch in a 3-0 count, especially when you're up. Okay.
Okay.
The 3-0 count, it's going to be a strike right down the middle. Let them get the strike. So Fernando Tatis, with his team up like 10 and the bases or 8 and the bases loaded, took the 3-0 count and he just smacked a grand slam. And funny enough, it's my team, the Texas Rangers, had a whole hissy fit on it. And I'll say now to the Falcons what I said to the Rangers, which is that's kind of a stupid fucking rule. Get over it. I want to see the points scored. Like if you are mad about giving up what 11 runs in this case or 48 points in Atlanta's case, don't give up the 48 fucking points. Play some defense.
Yeah.
Like
Ah,
I'm sorry. Like, I have when I was a kid and I went up on a bigger person, they slammed that ball in my face. When you're up like that, it is your obligation to run that ball down their fucking throat and make sure they know they fucked up this game. They should have scored more. I'll say it. They should have scored more. I'd have scored again after Arthur Smith had that little hissy fit. I'd have scored again. I'd have gone for two.
you would have called the game up again because that was after the game ended. So you
Yeah,
would be like, okay, okay, no, let's do another play.
yeah. Let's do another play.
Yeah, I generally agree because, like, here in Europe, you don't really have that in terms of like soccer. If a team is up, like, I guess if a team is up like 5, 6 goals and there's not a whole lot of time left, they will just play easy. But it's like, if they have a chance to score the goal, they will. It's like they
Yeah,
just won't really push for it. So I
it's a
don't
stupid
understand
rule.
those sort of like,
Offense sells. Offense gets butts and seats, and they sell tickets.
yeah. But the way I understand it, the issue with this one was that they were in victory formation.
Arthur
So they
Smith
were like,
continues to prove that he's the worst watch in the NFL.
ah, the Arthur Smith 8 will just keep running through you. But it's like, it's when they put out that formation, it's like they're saying game is over. And then they trick you. So you sort of feel like disgruntled about it. But as you said, you should just deal with it. Just don't allow the other 41. If you don't want that situation to happen, then don't allow them to score 41 to start, or 35 to start, or 28 to start. Don't allow those scores. Like, keep the game close. Then you don't see the victory formation, probably, especially close to the goal line.
It's like 1 minute
Yeah,
left. It's like 1 minute left.
yeah, but it's like it wouldn't change much. Like they were up like 3, 4 scores, so it's kind of wherever. But I agree that he shouldn't have thrown that like tantrum at Dennis Allen. Um, but going over the coach is a part that sort of like doesn't sit well to me, especially if you're the backup QB.
If it comes out that this is why Arthur Smith got fired, I'm gonna like have another celebration. I'm not gonna lie.
But where do you stand on that part that the
Well,
QB went over the coach's head?
he's got the right to audible. If he don't like the play that's called, he's got the right to audible.
Okay. Okay. I understand. I guess that's true. It just probably doesn't apply in this
It's
situation.
it's
It's
like
like,
it's like me being like it's like me being mad if saying like Joe Burrow shouldn't call a timeout because he doesn't like the look. Jameis, hey, I understand Jameis did it for personal gain for another player, but the offensive line blocked and they ran that play.
yeah,
They
it was the full team that did that.
yeah. So hey,
But but he was explicitly told not to score that touchdown because
oh
they asked him on the sideline. Dennis Allen said that the players came to him, asked him if they could score the touchdown for Jamal, and he said that he explicitly told them not to because that's not what they are about. And the team went out there and did it anyway. So it at least makes me question, like, if the players are behind you, if the
hey,
players respect you as a coach, a leader of man.
quite honestly, I
Yeah.
don't know about you. But I don't like being told what not to do. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
You know what? This will be a complete no story in like a month. So,
Yeah, because it's not entertaining. It's like, oh, you didn't follow quorum in this very instance in week 18 in a game that didn't fucking matter. Like, who gives a fuck? Let him get his money. 448 on Arthur Smith. Make me happy. Damn it.
okay. I guess that's it for this one.
It's gonna be like, you remember in wrestling when Wade Barrett came out and he hit the gavel, he's like, decorum, please. That's how I feel that Dennis Allen. Decorum, please. Out of here. Out of here.
Yeah. I guess like the only part that I really didn't like about it is just like going over the coach's head,
I
which
don't care.
sort of brings a few questions of is he the right man to the job?
That's a good question. You can't
Like
get your
it's tough, man, because a lot of players came to his aid. Like a lot of players brought it to Twitter to say like,
I
"No,
understand.
man,
I understand
I
it's
like
the
this
right
guy."
thing to do, but if your players are all coming to you and they're telling you we want to do this, at some point you just gotta let them. Like you don't gotta stand on the principle of decorum and know even though everyone wants to do this, we're not going to do this. Do it. Let them do it. That's part of being a leader. Sometimes if all your guys come to you and are like, we want to do this and we will execute this, let them execute it.
Yeah, because if they had gone
Sometimes it is
out
that
there,
easy.
if they hadn't gone out there in victory formation and were in there just running a regular play, this is a no story. Like
So,
they
yeah,
would have
exactly.
scored a
It's no
touchdown, and
story.
it's like, yeah, they ran up the score in a division rival. It happens. It's whatever. The
Exactly.
issue is
No.
just coming
This
out
is
in the
an
victory
Arthur Smith
formation.
and Dennis Allen story right now, and Arthur Smith isn't relevant right now or
Yeah,
anymore. He can't hurt us anymore. So get out of here with that.
that leaves Dennis Allen holding the proverbial hot potato.
Yep. Decorum, please. All right.
All right.
You want to talk about uh, the one game of Week 18 that really mattered? You wanted to talk about the Bills Dolphins Sunday night game to end the football season. What?
Well, 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 Angelo.
Well. I'll
The
have you
mighty
know,
Buffalo Bills.
I predicted Miami to be the number one seed. I'll have you know.
The one seed, but they're not the one seed.
I know. That's what
So
I'm
you
saying. I
missed
had
on
this.
that one.
Yes, I did.
You did. And Buffalo reigned supreme in the NFC East. I believe there was a point in which both um, both Miami and the Jaguars were sitting at 9-3 or 9-2, if I'm not mistaken, and Buffalo was sitting at 6-6. Yeah, nine and
I don't
three and
want to
six
talk
and
about
six.
it.
And only one of those teams won the division. And it sure as hell wasn't the 9-win teams. How about those Buffalo Bills, man? Wasn't a
Ugh,
pretty game, I'll say that. Like, Josh Allen
disgusting.
didn't play that great.
So, what overarching thing do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about Buffalo, how Buffalo improved, or do you want to talk about how Miami struggles? Which one do you want to talk about first?
I guess we can talk about Miami first, because they were the
Disgusting.
defeated side here. So they should just go first, be done with them. And it's like, I guess this is a little spoiler for what's coming up next. But this Miami
Mm,
team, away from home, isn't winning a game in the playoffs, man.
they couldn't score 21 in Miami. In Miami.
In Miami. Now they have to go to Kansas City. And it's cold in Kansas City, man. This team, while one of the best teams in the league, At
Let me
home,
just let
away.
me just explain to you how disappointed I am in Miami right now. You're telling me, you're telling me Josh Allen turned the ball over 2 times, and you couldn't muster more than 100. This looks like a Justin Fields stat line that Alex is about to make fun of. You're telling me you couldn't get 200 yards of passing. You're telling me you couldn't get more than like 40 yards in the second half? A whole half. The most potent offense in the NFL, or one of them, couldn't get more than 40 passing yards in the second half. What the fuck? What the hell? Just you
Yeah,
tell
they've
me. You
lost their
tell me.
juice, man. I mean, I told you from the start, this team can handle adversity. They lose Raheem Mostert, they lose Jalen Waddle, and they can't muster 200 yards of passing offense. It's crazy.
Josh Allen had more rushing yards than the Miami offense had passing yards in the second half.
That one is hilarious.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Uh, and Stephon Diggs finally had a pretty strong game.
You know who had a really, really strong game? Shakir,
Who?
Khalil Shakir.
Khalil Shakir, yeah, because Gabe Davis went out. And I
Yeah.
believe he's likely to miss the Pittsburgh game.
Ooh, that's not gonna. Well, no, this isn't Kansas City. That's not gonna matter. Gabe Davis
Yeah,
has his good game against Kansas City.
yeah.
Anyway,
He needs to be ready for next game, not this one.
yeah, he needs to be ready for next week, not this week. I
But yeah,
can't.
Miami, man, when they face adversity, it's rough. It's a rough going, and they really, if the rhythm gets disturbed, they are a whole different team, man. And it's not good.
Do you think there's like this low key thing that like so like we obsess over like the Miami weapons like ooh they got Devon A Chain and they have or had Raheem Mostert and Tyreek Hill and Waddle. Looking outside of that, and two of those were down. There's not a lot of good stuff left, like at
Yeah,
all.
man. It is true. And they've been missing a few key pieces on defense, on offense, and it shows.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
still, this is the adversity. I mean, the Browns had to go through like what 5 QBs so far, and they are
Yeah,
still like in pretty good
they're
shape.
still in it.
If
Yeah,
yeah, they first adversity, and they are still like pushing through, and they have a higher seed than Miami, in fact. And Miami,
that's
like
sad.
facing any sort of like small adversity, just struggles, man. And I think this is not a team that is built for the big stage yet. And maybe it never will be. Maybe this is just one of those flashy regular season teams who can never get it done. It happens. Maybe they're just the Bills from years prior.
Hmm, don't circling your wagons yet too much. Josh Allen is still turning the ball over, and he's still going to have to face two of Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, or God, who's the third quarterback I was thinking of? I don't even remember. Well, he isn't going to have to face Joe
Uh,
Burrow, so
Not this year.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. He's still going to have to go through Lamar or Mahomes. So I don't
Yes,
think you
that
can
is
turn the.
correct.
I don't think you can give those guys extra possessions like Josh Allen's been given, and
And
he's still giving.
I
He's
don't
the
think
gift that keeps on
he
giving,
will
dude.
go. I mean, yeah, but I guess like if you're looking at the other games, and it's like this one he had what? Uh what's this game? Yeah, this one he had 2 picks.
Yep.
But I mean, since what? Since yeah, I was going to make a point, but then now I'm looking at the interceptions, like for real, and it's like 2-1-1. Then he had the game with none. Then it's like 1-1-1-1-1-2-1-1-1-1,
He's the gift
and
that
it's
keeps on giving, dude.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and this is the guy. This is the guy you might be picking to make the Super Bowl out of the AFC. You high?
yeah. And as I said prior, the interceptions, like a
You
few,
deserve it.
few,
You
few
deserve it.
weeks
You deserve
ago,
it. Alex the Delulu.
As I said a few weeks ago, I mean,
You're gonna hold
the
Lamar Jackson
turnovers,
to 14 points?
the turnovers was going to be like the big one, and now this is the year in which he has had the most picks in his whole career. I mean, he had
He's
18
gonna
interceptions
it's,
this year,
he's gonna be the gift that keeps on giving in the playoffs. I'm telling you right now. You're,
but
you're gonna get
I
hurt.
think
Don't let
those have been
Buffalo hurt you,
somewhat slowed
Alex.
down.
Don't let Buffalo hurt you, Alex.
Like, I'm not gonna go through all of them, but I remember in some of these Buffalo Bills games, some of these picks have been Hail Marys as well, which is kind of
That's
like,
fair.
okay, in that state, it's whatever. Um,
You're
but
gonna
yeah,
let him hurt you. You're gonna let him hurt you.
I mean, I have them winning more than one game.
Okay, if you
That's
say
the
so.
tease that you get.
It's if you say so, buddy. You basically know my whole bracket, so there you go. If you could have read it.
Yeah, I uh, I don't know how you pick the AFC yet. I just know who you
Okay,
have in the finals.
okay.
But yeah, like biggest turnover in the season. I mean, they go from what 6-6, and they finish the season. What they finish the season? Where do I have
11
the
and 6.
records?
11
11
and
and
6.
6. So they go on to win next
So,
what 5 out of 6. I believe that was it. So yeah, pretty solid showing from them. And yeah, they are in the playoffs and they won the division
so
yet again.
okay, so let's go through real quick the teams that Buffalo beat. There are some impressive ones. They beat Miami, they beat New England, they beat the Hobble Chargers barely. By the way, all these games are barely, except this one. They beat the Cowboys by a lot. They beat the Chiefs, and the Chiefs one was kind of controversial if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it
And
was the
they
one. Oh, go
and
ahead.
he, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I forgot my computer's touchscreen. One, two, three. Yeah, that's the five. That's the five. The sixth one, they lost to the Eagles and then they beat the Jets. That's the start of the streak.
Yeah,
I don't know,
and
man.
the Philly one they should have won. So I guess you can flip like Kansas City and Philly.
I
They
guess.
played much better than Philly, in my opinion.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, it's impressive. They had a few good teams in there. They had a few like not so great, but I mean, beating Kansas, beating Dallas, beating Miami, and it's just not like beating those teams. It's beating those teams when you can't really afford to lose any one of those games. I guess the Miami game
Yeah,
they could by the
that's
end of
true.
it because Pittsburgh's win basically meant that Pittsburgh's win and some the Jags losing
I
basically
don't
meant
know.
that they were in. But still, impressive wins nonetheless in high pressure moments. And this team, this is always the type of team that scares me in the playoffs in a good way. That scares me because they
Get
can
you
make a
in the
big run.
playoffs?
Yeah, but
Aren't
in a
you
good
the
way.
guy? Aren't you the guy who was like the Eagles aren't winning good enough, and you're going to be taking victory laps over a 2 point win against the
No, 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 no,
Ian-led Chargers, and like a
no,
four
no, no,
point win against Bailey Zappi?
no.
This is what we're doing.
I'm saying that it scares me in a good way that they can make a big run because this is a team that has basically been in playoff mode for like over a month, while other teams have been able to be like resting players, not taking the games as hard. This is a team that is fully focused and has needed to win every
I,
single one of these
I'm
games in
glad they
order
were in
to get to
playoff mode
playoffs.
against Adam Eaton and Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, they still won those games. That's all I can say, man.
Okay.
None of them were easy, but they got it.
None of them were easy, but they got it.
And I guess that leads us to the playoffs.
Dun 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 dun.
Was
Okay.
that you or was that me?
What do you mean?
Was that you who used that sound, or was that me?
Oh, that was me.
Oh,
100%.
okay, okay.
Why
Because I
did you
was
use that
opening
sound
up the
too?
sound. No, I was looking up the soundboard, and then it's like that started playing, and I'm like, okay, maybe, maybe I did something wrong. Yeah, maybe I'm in danger. But no, playoffs, man. What a year
Playoffs,
this has
man.
been, and we're finally here.
We are finally here.
And I guess it's time for us, before we predict these games on round one,
So
it's time for us
before
to give the
before
bracket.
before we do that,
Okay.
the Eagles lost to the Giants pretty embarrassingly. And Nick Sirianni said after they lost in embarrassing fashion that they weren't going to make any major changes to the play calling. No further. Is that concerning at all to you? Because it kind of is to me.
I mean, that screams of a coach who's getting fired after he doesn't win a playoff game this year. He has
Or
absolutely no idea on what he needs to adjust at this point. I think he has lost the locker room. I think like he
lost the
can't.
locker.
Yeah, he lost everything. Like yes, players saying, which is really weird to me, but like AJ Brown coming out and saying that it's the player's fault that he somehow misses some of these calls, which seems weird. But
We should tell him how to be a head coach.
yeah, and it feels like this feels like one of those hirings. I'm not sure if you remember back then, but like when he first got announced, there was some skepticism, and it's like maybe he's not the right guy for the job. Like people weren't super high on the Eagles. Like Hertz was
Say
okay.
some,
He
I'm going to
wasn't
say
taking any.
something crazy. Nick
Yeah,
Sirianni just be mid, and you could put like me or you in there, and the Eagles roster is just that stupidly fucking talented that anyone could have done it.
yeah. I think that's probably like not. that- That's obviously ridiculous because we are far from being head coaches.
I
But
know. I'm
I
just saying.
think I think we at least would make some noise. I think that's fair. And it's like it's going from a guy who has coached his whole life to us.
I
Like
mean,
the most that I have coached is my Madden teams.
you know when to call a timeout, right?
I guess.
Is there
But you
Ask
usually,
Madden in the NFL? Can I ask Madden what I should call here?
I guess our
There we
Ask
go.
Madden is like I ask you and you ask me, and we
There you
one
go.
of us just has Madden
East
open up every
Crossers.
single time.
Anyway,
Oh, but
anyway,
yeah,
the bracket.
that's a hot take. After they lose this game, and I guess that's a spoiler.
Oh,
Sirianni is
you
out of
really
here.
have too much faith in Tampa, dude. You really
No,
got
I
faith
don't.
in the team that just beat Carolina 9-0.
Yeah. Well, I guess you have faith. I guess you have faith in the team that scored 10 points versus New York Giants.
Touche.
But brackets. And I guess that since I gave the spoiler, it's probably best for me to start. I gave plenty of hints. You still haven't given any sort of hints in the show. So I guess I'll start.
Talking about if you've watched this podcast for the last 3 weeks, you know not one, not two, but three of my predictions already.
Well, yes, I'm saying in this show that we're currently recording. You haven't given out any sort of hints so far. I've given
That's what
some.
I'm saying. How many more do you want me to give out, Alex?
All of them.
Okay.
Okay, but I guess I can start. So, brackets. I have Buccaneers. No, my bad. I have Eagles at
How
Tampa
about
Bay
how about?
Buccaneers.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Eagles
We'll
at
just
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
yep.
Buccaneers are
Well,
through.
okay.
Okay.
I have the Eagles winning that game.
Okay. Then I have the Los Angeles Rams at the Detroit Lions. Lions are going through.
I hate to break it to you, buddy.
Yeah,
I
this one
have
is
the
the
Rams.
hardest for me to call.
I
Yeah.
have the Rams.
Yeah, I was flip flopping there as well.
Quite honestly, if we're being honest, Detroit is an I love freaking Campbell. Like I think I just the dude is amazing. He obviously galvanizes his troops. But if I'm being honest, Detroit historically isn't used to success. This is their first run in the playoffs. And generally speaking, your first run never goes as well as you would hope. I think on the other side, Sean McVay has been to if I'm not mistaken, two Super Bowls, one against the Patriots, one against the Bengals. He still has Matthew Stafford, and he still has 1-2 throw it to Cooper Cup. So
And
give me
now,
the Rams.
and now they added 1-2 throw it to Puka Nakua.
True.
Yeah, I mean it's true. It's probably the game that I had the hardest time calling this week for the ones happening today. Today, no, this week in general.
Honestly,
It's
like
this one.
LA Rams was just a bad pull for Detroit. Like a
Yeah,
really like on the other hand, you could have had like Tampa or like Green Bay or maybe even a disorganized Philly. Nope, you got LA.
but
Sorry,
I
buddy.
think LA would be a bad matchup to whichever team that they got. And
Yeah, exactly.
if there's one thing that I can say for the Lions that the Lions have in their favor is that their running defense is absolutely stout, and that I'm not so sure that LA, the Rams, can make like the usual game plan work if Kyron Williams can't just keep getting the ball and getting them like 5 yards a
20
pop.
yards. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, or sometimes 20 yards a pop. Apparently, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was the toughest game, but I'm still going Detroit purely because I can't have so many upsets. Because the next game I have Packers at the Dallas Cowboys.
You
And
got it wrong.
nobody, the Packers are going through, man.
You got it wrong, buddy. Give me the Cowboys. The Cowboys are winning a game this playoffs. I know it. I feel it. I've taken a lot of hits for the Packers. This isn't going to be one of them. Give me the Cowboys.
This is one of those games in which, like, you just need to see the first few drives. Like, first
So,
drive for either team or both teams in this case. If you watch the first drive for both teams, you will know how this game will play out. Because
oh, wait a
if
minute. Wait a minute.
Jordan
That
Love
means
is on,
does that mean that you have so my second round is the LA Rams versus San Francisco 49ers. That means your second round is the Green Bay Packers versus the San Francisco 49ers.
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Lafleur. Just the storylines. Lafleur back versus his whole team.
Okay.
But yeah, like regarding the Packers Cowboys, I think this is one of those games in which you will see very soon what will happen here. Because if Jordan Love is on, Jordan Love is a streaky guy. As I said, he's second in the league in touchdown passings, only behind Dak Prescott. And it's a streaky guy. But if he's on, this game will be probably the best game of the whole weekend.
Yeah, probably.
I feel pretty confident in
Especially
saying
considering
that.
the AFC's got some pretty boring matchups to me. Oh well.
Yeah, I think so as well. So I'm going with the upset. This is still a game that I think I'm being too bullish on because this is in fact the youngest team in the league versus a pretty stout team at home in the Cowboys. I believe they're
And
undefeated at home this year.
with, believe it or not, playoff experience.
With yeah, they have a playoff win last year if I'm not mistaken. They did beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh,
But I think the
give me the
Packers have something to
Cowboys.
I think the
Okay.
Packers have something to say here. Do you want to go straight to the AFC or just continue down
Continue
the
through the NFC and then we'll do the AFC.
Okay, then I have Packers at San Francisco. And I have San Francisco going through.
So I have San Francisco versus LA, and I also have San Francisco going through. The
Okay.
sacrificing will continue.
And then I have Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions.
That's just an ugly freaking go on.
Yeah, and I think it's the worst game of the week, and Lions just roll through. So I
So
have a
I
Lions
and
at San Francisco 49ers Conference Championship.
so this is why I think I'm right because you have one of the most boring. If the NFL wants to rig some games, you have one of the most boring second round matchups I think I've ever heard. I got Dallas versus Philly. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Do you know who I have, Alex? Do you know
But
who I have going through?
but
The Cowboys! The Cowboys against the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game. Tell me that isn't so. Tell me that wouldn't sell.
that would sell. I mean, yeah, it would sell, of course. Like Dallas always sells, but it's like it's just a game that you know what will happen. It's like like Dallas has absolutely no chance versus San Francisco.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It's like they will just keep talking their shit, and then it's like, yeah, they get run over by San Francisco like usual. So
So
you're
San
telling
Francisco
me,
versus Detroit. Go on. Yep, go on.
so you're
You're telling
telling
me
me
what?
that you have the Dallas Cowboys having the
Yep,
same amount of wins this year as they've had
yep,
since 2014
yep,
in the playoffs.
yep. Yeah, yes.
You are a
Two.
very confident individual in those Cowboys, man. For
Yeah. I'm
for
telling
sure.
you, I don't care. After the Cowboys beat Green Bay, the first thing you're gonna hear, I'm not gonna fuck the intro. Fuck, hey guys, welcome to No Reserve. It's Alex. That's the first thing you're gonna hear. I'm
All
telling you.
right, all right. I'm more confident that the Eagles lose than the Cowboys lose, but I have to throw some spice in here, and I think the Packers have a chance.
Uh-huh.
And okay, finally, going to the Super Bowl, the Detroit Lions at the 49ers, and I have the 49ers going to the Super Bowl.
So I'm thinking about this, right?
Don't do it, Angel.
Originally, I had the San Francisco 49ers beating Dallas in San Francisco. What was the Super Bowl last year, Alex?
Super Bowl last year was the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'll stick to my guns. I think the San Francisco 49ers go on to the Super Bowl.
Oh, you gave me a scare here.
I did. I got to.
Nah, you got me. For sure. Okay. AFC then. Do you want to start this one?
Disgusting. Yeah, the first game is that at least that I see. You start with the 4-5. Yep. The first game is the Houston Texans and the Cleveland Browns in Houston. And in that game, CJ Stroud, playing against Ohio. I have the Cleveland Browns.
Okay. Exact same here for me. Browns beat the Texans.
Okay. So, next one. Miami Dolphins going to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. I have Kansas City. Yeah. I
Same
don't
thing
think
here.
I understand Kansas City has been struggling, but at the same time, Patrick Mahomes has lost to Tom Brady and Joe Burrow in the playoffs since his career started, and I don't think that's changing just yet.
Okay, I agree.
So,
I also have the Chiefs winning. I do not trust this Miami Dolphins team away from Miami. Even in Miami, it's hard, but away from Miami, it's impossible, man.
so next one, Buffalo Bills against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I really wanted to pick the Steelers, but quite honestly, I watched the Steelers struggle to beat the backups of Baltimore, and I'm just like, this is just bad, dude. Like this is just bad. Oh, Buffalo. I don't think it will be. It shouldn't be particularly close, but I'm sure if they win by only two, you'll be doing victory laps. So, but give me Buffalo.
It is what it is. Also, Pittsburgh shouldn't have TJ Watt. I believe Tomlin ruled him out already.
Yeah, there's no hope.
Yeah,
If they win, if they win, that'll be the biggest upset I've seen in a long time as far as an
yeah,
NFL playoff.
I agree. So we have the same here. We have the same three winners. Divisional round. Give it to me straight,
Which,
Angelo.
which just means we have the same second round.
Yes.
So, Baltimore, Cleveland at Baltimore, and I'm sticking to my guns. The Cleveland Browns went into Baltimore and won during the season. They're going to do it again. Lamar is going to be one and done. Cleveland to the AFC Championship game.
I cannot start to tell you how wrong you are on this one because it's clearly the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, this is the Ravens. You are Angelo the Delulu on this one. Indeed. The fairy tale has to end somewhere, and I think it ends in Baltimore, where it began.
Uh, it
So I
doesn't
think
end in Baltimore.
Flacco, it ends in
Doesn't
Baltimore.
end in Baltimore.
Joe Flacco will turn back to Joe Fluco, and that's
Joe
it.
Flacco will head to Baltimore, where he spent his entire career, got all that money, and he will knock them out of the playoffs.
Now, one thing
Knock
that
them
does
out.
scare me here is that this is a team who has the first round bye, so they won't play this week. They
They
rested
won't
most of
play.
their starters last week, so now this is a
Lamar
team
didn't
with two
play.
weeks rest. Yeah, Lamar didn't
Yep.
play, so Lamar 2 weeks without playing, facing this Browns defense. It's rough, but
Yep.
I still trust in this
Miles
Ravens.
Garrett will be coming for him all day.
I still think the Ravens are the best team in the league right now. So give me the Ravens.
I think they'll be the best team to get knocked out in the first round. Um,
No, no, that's Dallas.
so the next one, Kansas City coming to Buffalo. I think Kansas City has Buffalo's number mentally. I think I even no matter how good Buffalo's playing, I think there is like a psychological advantage Patrick Mahomes and that team has against Buffalo. And Josh Allen is the gift that keeps on giving. He's going to give Patrick Mahomes one or two extra possessions. Give me Kansas City.
This game was in Kansas. I would believe you. I think that's how the game plays out. But this is now Bills Mafia. And Bills Mafia country will
You didn't
have
have to.
will have everything ready to receive Patrick Mahomes, and they will finally
You don't have to let the Bills hurt you, man.
no,
Like
no, they will finally take out the Kansas City Chiefs. They
you
are
said,
gonna
finally.
finally
This is my whole point. Like there is a psychological advantage Kansas
no.
City has.
This is the Davis versus Goliath. This is the story that they need to finish.
David versus Goliath.
This the
Kansas City
Bills.
hasn't won a game in like a month.
No, no, no. But playoff wise, the stories
Uh-huh.
here, like they can never beat KC. They are Cody Rhodes. Kansas City is Roman Reigns.
Oh
This is the
no. Oh,
WrestleMania, and the Buffalo Bills are winning this one. Give me the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills go to the conference championship.
that's gonna be that's gonna be a heated game if it happens. Anyway, so I have Cleveland against Kansas City. And Kansas City will be at home against Cleveland in my predictions. And I have Kansas City going to the Super Bowl to face San Francisco.
Okay. Here, this is like my two children playing with one another, and I have to pick a favorite.
Your two children aren't going to get there.
My two children are getting there, and they are playing with each other, and I have to decide who I like more between the two. And it's tough, but sometimes you have to make tough decisions. And I think the team that will make the least mistakes and the team who will be not perfect, but the closest to perfection will be
Don't you dare say it.
the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, this guy. So
It
so
hurts me
so
because I've been on the Bills wagon for a while now, but it is
So
what it is,
let
man.
me get this straight. Let me get this straight. So last week we talked about the conspiracy theory of the logos, and you were like, "I don't believe that." And
And
then what's
I'm
what's
going
your
to
prediction again? What's your prediction again now, Alex? Please tell me what your Super Bowl matchup
the
is.
Super Bowl matchup is the San Francisco 49ers versus the
Uh,
Baltimore Ravens.
right. Okay. So what?
Did you
What?
see that they remade the logo?
Oh, they did. What's the logo look like now? Does it look like
Uh,
Kansas City? Does it
and
look like
no, it's like and it came after all of that like conspiracy theory. So it's
Uh-huh.
like some people are like, okay,
They're
maybe
on
this
to
is why they
us.
changed it.
They're on
Yeah, they're
to
on to us. They've made a new logo. Where is it? I saw it mentioned, but I'm not actually seeing it. So maybe I'm giving you fake news.
Fake news.
But I've saw it plenty of times.
Mm-hmm.
But all I see is still the oh
They
no.
might as well just put the.
Oh, where's the updated one? I think it's here. I think it's this one. Yeah, I think the new one is now green and it looks like Bill's colors or something.
Oh
But
God,
it's
no!
green now. On top it's green.
Don't tell me Packers Bills.
Now it
No,
seems that it's Miami. It looks like Miami.
it's Miami. Oh
Yeah,
God,
it looks like Miami's colors.
they probably just wanted the team they were sure wasn't going to get there. Okay, so wow,
Okay, and your Super Bowl
San Francisco,
versus.
Kansas City,
And who do you have winning it?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. I have the Baltimore Ravens winning my Super
Oh
Bowl.
my God,
The Baltimore Ravens, the team that you said wouldn't win a single game this playoff, is winning the Super Bowl.
delusional.
And Lamar Jackson
You're
will be it.
delusional.
Although I'm not even a particular big fan of Lamar Jackson, but Lamar
You're
Jackson will have
delusional.
two unanimous MVPs and a Super Bowl.
You're delusional.
Get ready.
Just get out of here. Ugh,
Okay, with this out of the
cursed
way,
season. This cursed freaking season. Go on.
you will be reeling after that. But after that, I think that just leaves one thing, right?
What's that?
The predictions for this games in terms of betting lines.
Oh, you want? Okay, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I think you can track just like the playoffs for like you won the regular season, give me a shot at the
You,
playoffs. Maybe
you
you win
want
it.
chat? He's like, come on, man, let's just do some money lines.
Yeah.
You're like an addict that has a problem. You're just like,
Maybe I just want to
let me
get a
do
better
it.
percentage
Let
here.
me do
Let
it.
me
Yeah.
do it. Just one more shot, just one more, please, please. I
All
think I
right.
think I can pay you off.
All right. Fine. Sure.
All right then. Then first game that I have here, Saturday, Cleveland Browns at the Houston Texans. Now we know which team that we think will win, but now it's betting lines,
Now
and we
it's point.
have the Browns minus 2.5 over under 44.5, and I'm going with the Browns. The Browns minus 2.5 for me.
Same.
Okay, Browns minus 2.5. You will have to agree
My
with me on
God.
plenty of this.
My God. Some of these lines. Go on.
Okay. Now I guess you can go. I guess you can go on this one.
The next one I have is Miami at Kansas City with 4 points being given to Miami. As a betting line, give me Miami.
Okay. Miami +4 to you. I'm going with the favorite here still. Even though I think they'll win, I also think they cover this
Oh
line.
my
-4.
Some of
I
these lines.
yeah, some of these lines are really weird. But yeah, KC -4 for me. I
Okay.
think this I think this is a real stump. Like they just annihilate the
I
Dolphins.
don't I don't think they annihilate the Dolphins. I think it's going to
I
be a
think
close
this is
game.
a three. I think it is a three-score game. So
A three-score game. Jeez.
I don't think Miami is ready for this.
You- So you have them like trouncing Miami and then losing to Buffalo.
Yes,
Okay,
that is correct.
you're next.
Okay, for me, next one is of course, this is the worst game. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 10-point favorites. The over under is 36 and a half. This one went down from the 40s to 36 and a half.
Go ahead.
Just so you know.
Go ahead, buddy.
And yeah, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills minus 10.
Give me the Steelers.
Yeah.
10 points? A
I'm not
playoff
are we even sure that Pittsburgh scores points?
game? That's a good question. Is Mason Rudolph starting or is Kenny Pickett back?
I believe it's Mason Rudolph. I believe Kenny Pickett is back, but they are going with Mason Rudolph. That's what happened last week as
Oh
well.
my God.
They seem to have benched Kenny Pickett effectively.
That's pretty rough.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the Duck Hunter, it's over. Okay,
Okay. Green Bay Packers at Dallas Cowboys. 7.5 favorites is the Cowboys. I actually don't like this line for Dallas, but you know, at the same time, I might as well go on. Boys, be the Cowboys.
you know what I pick in this one? There's not much room for me here. It's just I think it's an upset, so give me Green Bay plus 7.5.
Yep.
Okay, next one for me. Sunday Night Football. The Los Angeles Rams at the Detroit Lions. The Lions are 3.5-point favorites. Over under 51.5, the highest on the week.
Boy, it's nice going to DraftKings and seeing that 0.00 balance. Anyway, go on.
And I'm going with the Rams plus 3.5.
Oh, you really don't have that much faith in Detroit. I'm
No,
also
that
going through Rams plus 3.5, which means, of
yeah,
course, Detroit's about to win and cover that. Ah!
yeah. It is. I'm putting the curse on you.
You're putting the curse on me.
Okay, the final game.
Philadelphia Eagles at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Eagles, even though they're way favored by 3, give me the Eagles.
Can you imagine just like play like when the season's starting, just saying, yeah, the Eagles will make the playoffs. They'll face the Buccaneers. That's just shocking by itself. And then it's like, and they will be 3-point favorites. What? The Super Bowl? The team that went to the Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles, are going to be 3-point favorites to the Baker Mayfield led Buccaneers? Not like 13, just 3.
Just straight.
And I would tell you back then, yeah, and they're gonna lose that game. So give me
Oh,
Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 3.
this, your
It
Eagles hate.
is. I mean, it is what it is, man. I think Tampa Bay plus 3 is the call here. And that's it. Very short list, just 6 games here. And I think the playoffs are set, and we are set, and our listeners are set.
Okay, well, then do the outro, Alex. You do the honors.
As Angelo usually says, fancy, nice little donate button right there that you can click up. Help us, helps the show, helps us, helps everyone. And if you're listening on the Apple Podcast, if you're listening on Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. Leave us nothing. Just turn
Leave
on the
us
auto
nothing.
download. Leave us nothing outside of that 5-star review and the auto downloads on, please. We appreciate that one. If you're listening on YouTube still, you can go to the other one because there's no video yet. Probably will take a while if there's ever video, but you can just leave us a like there. Just turn on the notifications and leave us a comment as well. We'll read those, of course. And thank you for just sitting with us for another, 2 hours and sitting with us for the whole regular season. I hope you stay for the playoffs as well. And I hope you enjoy this playoff edition of our show that will go on through the Super Bowl. And I hope you enjoy playoffs in general. I hope your team made it in. Mine didn't. Angelo's
Neither
didn't.
did mine.
So yeah, although both of our teams did end the season over 500, we're still unlucky in that regard.
So,
So yeah,
oh,
hope you have
if
the
you're
best,
ready
guys.
for if you're ready for Alex to be wrong during the playoffs, then get
Tune
ready.
in next week. Talk to you guys next week.
See you guys.